What if I told you that one of the most terrifying, heart-wrenching stories ever told isn't a massive novel or a 2-hour movie, but just a single sentence? Welcome to today's Explainer. We're doing something a little bit different right now. We aren't looking at massive data sets or complex research papers. Instead, we're going to unpack the absolute intense emotional weight of just one haunting phrase. It is honestly mind-blowing how much mystery, despair, and action can be compressed into just a handful of words. Here is the text we're examining today. Translated into English, it reads, "The bitter fate of boat number 14, the only one returned to hell." Just take a second to let that sink in. Let the sheer weight of those words actually hit you. This brief, isolated fragment isn't just a sentence. It's an entire, devastating 3-act narrative in miniature. We have a clear subject, a terrifying action, and an ultimate, crushing destination. Our goal today is to deconstruct this anatomy of despair, piece by piece, and uncover the dark story hidden right there between the syllables. Okay, let's dive right into this. Act 1, the subject. We're going to focus on the entity sitting at the very center of our text. Right off the bat, our attention is drawn to boat number 14. Notice how incredibly clinical and bureaucratic that designation is. It's not given some hopeful, poetic name. It's literally just number 14. And think about what numbering a boat actually implies. It means it belongs to a much larger, unseen fleet. There had to be a boat 1, a boat 13, and probably a boat 15. This instantly grounds the tragedy in a huge systemic context. We're talking about a mass movement here, maybe a desperate evacuation or a military convoy. It strips away all individual identity, which makes the whole thing feel vast and terrifying. Which leads us to a massive, highly compelling question. What fate actually awaits this specific vessel? By plucking just number 14 out of that anonymous massive lineup, the author instantly hooks us. They build incredible suspense. We are practically forced to wonder what makes this specific craft so different from boats 1 through 13. Did the others make it to safety? Did they sink? Why are we only looking at this one number of boat? Singling it out perfectly sets the stage, pulling us right into the mystery of what happens next. So let's look at what happens next. Act 2. The action. We're transitioning from our numbered subject directly into a terrifying reality. And this brilliantly illustrates how a few words can completely subvert our psychological expectations. Think about it. Culturally, we view boats as vehicles of transit, right? They're designed for escaping, for taking us from danger, across the water to safety. But then we hit the grim reality of the text, the only one returned. The action isn't moving forward toward hope. It's a regression. It's a forced reversal against the very nature of what a boat is fundamentally supposed to do. Now, what's really interesting about this is the specific word used here, which translates to alone or the only one. This single modifier exponentially amplifies the isolation. Remember that massive fleet implied by the number 14? Well, this word completely separates boat 14 from its peers. Whatever happened out there on the dark water, this vessel experienced it in total, profound isolation. Being the only one to return suggests that coming back is a terrifying anomaly. It breaks the rules of the fleet, which immediately begs the question, what kind of nightmare forced it back? And that brings us to the final, darkest piece of the puzzle. Act 3, the destination, the ultimate consequence. So at the very beginning of the sentence, we were given this framing device that translates to bitter fate, a destiny marked by inescapable harshness and grief. By kicking off the entire thought with the conclusion that the fate is bitter, the text removes any suspense about whether this ends well. It doesn't. It primes your psychological canvas with absolute dread right out of the gate. Just like a bitter taste lingers in your mouth, these words set a tone of enduring pain, laying down a dark foreshadowing for the horrifying destination. So the crucial point is how this narrative finally resolves. It ends with the words "to hell." Think about the terrifying trajectory we've just mapped out. A numbered boat departs, part of a desperate, massive fleet. It and it alone turns back. But it doesn't turn back to a safe harbor. It doesn't find a welcoming shore. It turns back to hell. Ending the phrase on this specific, highly charged word strips away any lingering fragments of hope you might have had. It locks in the total, suffocating despair of the story. There is no salvation here, only a condemned return. So I'll leave you with this. How does a vessel of salvation become a solitary journey back into hell? It's a dark paradox that forces us to fill in the terrifying blanks ourselves. When we read about tragedies, looking closely at the specific words used can reveal so much more than just the surface facts. Words have immense, incredible power, and a single sentence can paint a more visceral picture of reality than an entire textbook. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If this sparked your curiosity, make sure to like, drop a comment with your thoughts on this dark paradox, and subscribe for more deep dives. I'll see you next time.